So lately I've been trying to comprehend induction, particularly by mulling over The Logical Leap by David Harriman and trying to find new applications of what I've been learning. What I've learned so far inclines me to believe it's possible for a proper comprehension of induction to have a large impact on one's personal life. After all, the introduction of induction by science has had a massive impact on humanity in general, being that its application has resulted in the technological advancements seen in the last several centuries. Consequently, the prospect of adding such an impactful tool to one's cognitive toolbox becomes incredibly compelling. So, what's the biggest tool that I've identified as a potential result of understanding induction? So far, it's induction's application to the learning of new information. I've seen several very interesting suggestions on how to enhance the process of learning, but I think understanding induction allows us to both clarify exactly what we need to learn and discover what we need to focus on in a subject. So, the question is, what is induction? Induction is the process of integrating facts into conceptual knowledge that explains a much wider scope of situations. The clearest example of this would be induction's essential role in the discovery of scientific theories. In the process of creating a new theory, one has to hypothesize an explanation for the cause of phenomenon that do not have an overarching explanation. It's essential that in induction that the context of the rest of one's knowledge is not dropped by ignoring facts, as integration with the rest of one's knowledge provides evidence of there being a causal relationship. This process includes doing experimentation to discover new facts to provide further basis for hypothesizing and then verification of the theory. While science is the most iconic example of induction in practice, one must perform this throughout their life in the integration of new knowledge. So how exactly do we gain utility from this understanding of induction? It seems obvious that this would be valuable for those of us who go into STEM, but I'm interested in how one can gain utility from this elsewhere in one's life. I believe that understanding the creation of new knowledge by induction allows us to better grasp and retain that very knowledge, so even those of us who are not actively trying to discover new knowledge would benefit from this understanding of the process of induction. Current learning conventions does not emphasize integration of one's knowledge, seemingly allowing it to remain fragmented or discarding the conceptual completely. Many people are presented with alternatives, learning from rote memorization or experience, rather than integrating abstract theory into perceivable facts. In contrast, understanding that the role of theory is to integrate all observable facts allows us to emphasize this exact purpose in one's learning. Taking the theory and seeing how it integrates all available facts is essential in retaining knowledge, as it provides the very framework in which to retain it. This is especially important on topics where you have no clear distinctions on what provides the theoretical basis for the subject, and you must, as a result, undertake the effort of distinguishing it yourself. Understanding how induction applies to learning allows one to comprehend a subject faster and figure out what is essential to learning a subject. So one of the more valuable places where I can see knowledge of induction being brought to bear would be on the subject of accelerated learning, where people strive to master skills in what would otherwise be considered an extremely condensed amount of time. I believe the biggest proponent of accelerated learning would be Tim Ferriss, who detailed this in his book, The 4-Hour Chef. He systematizes the process of learning skills, so a skill that on average would take years to learn instead can be learned in a matter of months to weeks. His experiments in the learning of a dozen languages, which he claims is possible to accomplish in 3 months, is one of the best examples of the discrepancy in the efficacy of one's approach to learning. There are many polyglots in the world who know multiple languages and are capable of picking up new ones relatively easily, while in contrast there are others who spend years learning but never achieve fluency. While Tim has demonstrated fluency in multiple languages, many of which he's learned in a matter of months. Now while this is admirable, many people have demonstrated the skill in mastering multiple languages. It's not that unique. The difference is that he's applied his methodologies to other skills outside the domain of language. He stated that he's used many of the same methodologies to master other skills, Some notable examples would be how he achieved a gold medal at a Chinese National Kickboxing Championship, and how he has gone into the Guinness World Book of Records doing 37 tango spins in the 2005 Tango World Championship. His methodologies are deceptively simple. They mainly revolve around breaking down the process of learning into distinctive steps, where he streamlined the process as much as possible. As an objectivist, I would describe a large part of the streamlining as that he's working around the overloading of the crow, or otherwise stated, he's working with the psychoepistemological fact that the human mind can only retain a limited amount of entities in its awareness at any one time. However, I found that he's light on the details on how to find conceptual knowledge that will allow us to undertake this process for unfamiliar skills. He has suggestions such as talking to experts, finding abnormalities or edge cases of success, and abiding by the 80-20 rule. And while I think these are great leads in locating central theory for learning new skills, I don't think it's the best approach that could be taken. By using the theory of induction, we can find the abstract theory that underlines major skill sets, allowing us to focus our attention on learning them and accelerating the learning process. I believe that applying the theory of induction, we can create an enormous value in making a wide variety of skills more applicable to the process of accelerated learning. This would be a massive boon to many people and for myself. So this is how I propose using the theory of induction in one's own personal life as a tool to enhance and potentially accelerate the learning of any skill you might encounter. I think this is only scratching the surface of what's possible with a proper understanding of induction. Personally, I've had some use applying it to introspection to generalize various patterns in my psychology, and I'm eager to keep experimenting to find new applications. Regardless, I strongly recommend looking into the book The Logical Leap by David Harriman as a fascinating read.